So when we're talking about ethical considerations of research on children, I really want to look to history to explain why this is such an important conference. In the 1970s, the American population found out to its shock and horror that research abuses had been conducted, that harms had befallen people in the name of trying to answer scientific questions, and really to try to restore scientific confidence in medical research and scientific research. A new regulatory oversight apparatus was created. We now have institutional review boards, we have independent oversight bodies, we have a number of entities whose role it is to watch over what researchers are proposing to do and to make sure that it's done as safely as possible with informed consent on the part of the participants, and that risk-benefit balance is really, carried out as much as humanly possible, or the research does not happen. But where is that evolution of bringing independent factors into research to maintain, its ethics? It led to unintended consequences that in turn had their own harms. And one of those unintended consequences is that if a population was deemed somehow particularly vulnerable to being exploited, then research was not conducted on them, or at least not as much as other populations. And children is a prime example of that. Children are not able to consent on their own behalf. An adult has to consent for them. And it suddenly started seeming just potentially overly complicated and ethically problematic to do research on children, and their preference was really to do research on adults. And that in itself is a harm, because research is how we develop new knowledge, it's how we bring new products to market, it's how we test interventions to find out which ones are best. And so if you're not doing that research in children, you're not going to be able to bring the benefits of science to children. We find ourselves now in a pandemic where the vaccines were tested on children after they were tested in adults. And we have other areas of medicine in which we tend to use products extrapolating with results from adults, but without actual testing in children, which is not the best quality care we could or should be providing to children. So it's really important to now sort of right this inadvertent harm that was created in the attempt to do right, and to say, we cannot not do research on children. We must do research on children, but how do we do it right?